Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was primarily focused on the air, what's coming out of the stack, right? Because the other things are more easily definable. The what's going into the wastewater stream is Charlestown Utility Board's job, and it's a defined thing.
So what will ours include?
My idea was that it would include what's coming out of the stack in Ranson, what's coming out of the stack in Mississippi, and what's coming out of the stack in Milton.
Right, centering
in
on
actuals.
emissions, talking about the emissions.
Centering on the air emissions, because that seems to be the thing that folks are most. I mean, they have a lot of concerns, but the thing they're most, ma'am, the thing that they're most concerned about is that, it seems to me.
Right.
And I've been listening as much as I can. We're not taking. So that's what I thought we would focus on, since the Board of Education is going to focus on this human risk assessment, which is my understanding is a very defined thing that covers a lot of different things. What I thought we would focus on is the air, is what's coming out of the air. So or what's going into the air out of the stack.
Eric, what's our vote? We're asking for a vote on a bond.
No.
And I requested a disclosure statement. So am I out of order?
What?
Okay, so we're not talking about the bond today, Tony. That'll be on a future agenda. No. We're talking about potentially having an environmental consultant help us review something. And as of right now, the idea that I threw out was that it'd be air emissions, and that essentially the vote today, if we do it, would be. That's okay. The vote today would be to create and issue an RFP subject to the county's guidelines, and then we'll review it when it comes in, and we'll have a subcommittee that will evaluate them. It may be that it comes in and they're $100,000, and we have to say, okay, now we have to go back and revisit that, right? We don't know what that's going to cost, but I think we just need a vote to advance the ball here on that idea.
That is part of what we need to do.
Tony, this has nothing to do with the bond. There's no reading of the bond on the agenda. We're not doing the bond today. So hang tight for me for a second.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I think that what we need to do would come out as our interviews with the consultant. I mean, that would be part of what we would be looking for when we're interviewing them, is they would be telling us what we need to do to answer our questions.
Well, that's an interesting concept. I don't know how we put out an RFP for a consultant to tell us what our second RFP is going to look like.
An RFQ for the RFP.
Yeah.
Because we don't really know. I mean, we're not experts here.
Right.
So we're looking for a subject matter expert to tell us what to do. Now, maybe there's a subject matter expert out there that we can reach out to and say, what do we need to be doing?
Well, John Breslin is that person, right?
Okay.
And so,
Is he willing to do that?
yes, yeah, he's volunteered to me to be willing to work with the consultant, and I told him, John, I want the truth. I don't care what it is.
Would he be willing to help us put together the RFP?
I'm sure he would. And I would hope that we would have a member of the anti-Rockwell group that would be willing to work with John to put together and us to put together the RFP. Because again, I would like them to have input into this. So yes, sir.
I was just going to make a motion that we authorize the president of the JCDA and Dick Deal, the executive director, to proceed with preparing an RFP for the Development Authority's review at our next meeting, and give you the discretion so long as it is involves, as what was presented in the agenda, focusing on the air emissions and working with Mr. Breslin. Right. Be great. I don't think we're going to be able to resolve exactly what those concerns are today. So I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
So we have a motion, second discussion, Julia.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just.
That's a long motion, but what's the motion?
Tony, we'll reiterate it here in a second. Hang tight. We have a question.
Sorry. I'm just struggling with our bond vote is going to be in September.
Well, those are
for sewer, so that's
yeah.
unrelated to air.
Well,
for
water, but those are independent questions, right? So whether or not we approve the bond agreement to extend water to the Jefferson Orchard acreage and the corridor is an independent question of what is the analysis of the emissions, right? So
that could be good business in this meeting, couldn't it?
Tony, we're not talking about the bond in this meeting. It's not on the agenda at all. So we're not gonna be having any reading of the bond. The third reading of the bond will take place in our September meeting as I indicated I believe in the header of our agenda. So hang tight for me for a second.
I would like to see the scope of work to include the sewer so that we can have more information about that, not just the air.
So what's going into the sewer?
Yes.
And so confirming that with the,
So we can get more information specific to what we're actually voting upon.
well, we're dealing with water when we vote. So you said sewer, but we're not dealing with sewer. So you're talking about water.
Yes,
So
so,
the scope of work for water would be water is going it's going the direction, the part we're dealing with is going to the site.
well, if we're not, if
So
we're
there's no
talking about
emission.
getting an environmental consultant, I think it needs to be comprehensive.
But what
Something
would-
that's actually going to be something that we have voting capacity on.
What
We
would
have no
the-
voting capacity on the air.
What would the environmental consultant tell us about water going in the direction of the plant? Because that's what we're dealing with, is the water going in the direction of the plant.
I don't know what he would tell us. I would like to have
Well,
some
I mean,
sort
it would
of
shock me if water going to the plant is an environmental issue that an environmental consultant would deal with. Now, the plant then takes that water and does things with it that come out into the air, and then is recycled as per the company. But the thing we're dealing with when we vote on the third reading of the bond